702. World of Work.
Are you a flexible worker? How has that been going for you? What's been the benefit for you and what's been the benefit for the business? Give us a call on 011-883-0702 or send a WhatsApp on 072-702-1702. We're discussing the benefits of flexible work on our World of Work feature this morning for employees, but for the business as well. Because for many South Africans, going back to the office after the pandemic has felt like a return to sort of like the old ways of working, hasn't it? But at the same time, a new way of thinking about work is actually growing, right? Flexible and on-demand work. So this approach moves away from the traditional 9-to-5 routine and instead focuses on contribution, on choice, and balance. So it's not just about working from home, but about creating workplaces where people have more control over their time while businesses benefit from access to diverse skills and greater agility. So please share your experiences with us around flexible work. Like, how do you do that? How have you benefited from that? And how do you think the business benefits from that? I know there's also been some silent protest from people who have spent so much time working from home since the pandemic and they don't want to come back to the office now. Are you one of those people? Let us know. Daniela Thom is a key accounts and business development manager at Strider Digital, who's going to guide us through this conversation. Daniela, thank you for your time. Good morning.
Hi, Clement. Thanks so much for having me.
What does flexible work actually mean in practice, and how is it different from remote or hybrid work?
Sure, Clement. Thanks for the question. So, flexible work, it's moved beyond the idea of just working from home or working in a hybrid model in terms of coming into the office some days and staying at home in other days. It's about, in now, people wanting to design their work around their lives rather than having to design their lives around work, and especially their careers. So it's, people are choosing to work flexibly in terms of choosing different types of work and project-based work as opposed to sticking to one career for a very long time. And for example, if I can give you an example, it's no longer just about side hustles or short-term gigs. Companies are realizing that they can access specialized skills when it really matters most to them. I'm talking, for example, engineers, analysts, technical managers, your top industry consultants. They are being brought into a project exactly when they need it, but also at the same time, we're seeing highly skilled professionals choosing flexibility over permanence. And they're using this flexible / project-based work opportunity to deepen their expertise and build truly specialized careers.
Why do you believe that flexible work is more than just a short-term trend? Because there are some people who believe, this thing is just going to dissipate at some point.
Sure. I think, look, specifically in our industry, which is very much the tech space, the digital transformation space, from a business perspective, the flexible work model, and when I talk about, again, just to reiterate the flexible work model, I'm not talking about, working from home, and that's something we can discuss, or, working from home some days and not working from home some days, but more about this project-based model is, from a business perspective, the opportunity there is they gain agility and competitiveness. They can bring talent in exactly when they need it. And then from, a skills perspective in the workforce, the talent gets to shape the career on their own terms.
And do you think that a lot of businesses have come to realize those kind of advantages? So, because a lot of them always ask, what's in it for me? Because when you're in the office, there's a level of control that even the managers have in making sure that people are productive and they meet the deadlines. Is it different when someone is at home? Because it's more, they're holding themselves accountable. I mean, yes, you're still in touch with the office, with the employer, with the manager perhaps, but you still somehow have control over how you allocate tasks throughout the day.
Yeah, I think there's been a bit of an evolution, right? It's no longer just about where we work, because people don't want to be managed out of control. They want to be measured by the value that they create. So for highly skilled, in-demand talent, what really matters is meaningful contribution, not how many hours it took to get there or, where the work was produced. Right now, it's more quality over quantity, not where or when. And I think ultimately that translates into, a bit of a balance where some businesses or organizations do require their staff to come in on on certain days a week, and that does foster collaboration, it does foster synergy. But I think, what we need to accept specifically in where we are now is that flexibility has moved well beyond being a nice to have in the workspace. It's definitely become somewhat of a baseline expectation.
And for some employers, though, who are insisting on a return to the office, what risks do such companies face if they don't embrace flexibility?
Yeah. So, I think that businesses that understand that flexibility is now more of an expectation, and who build flexibility into their culture are more likely to be the ones who attract and keep top talent. Those that don't, Clement, are finding that people simply choose to move on to places that do. And in turn, those that don't, I think will see how a lack of flexibility has a significant impact to their overall retention strategy, and to possibly their level of employee satisfaction and overall company culture.
Sure. So you've spoken about moving from, clock watching to contribution. How do businesses measure success in this kind of setup?
Yeah, quality over quantity. It's as simple as that. It's about the value of the output, Clement.
And how do you get the companies to start using that on-demand or flexible talent without losing control? Because I think, as I said, there are some that are still resisting because there are these fears that are still lurking.
Sure. Look, that's a very good question, and I think that's specifically where a company like Strider Digital comes in. Our ability to connect organizations with some of the best tech professionals available today, and also help those organizations manage those tech professionals, is something that I think sets us apart. It protects them from a retention perspective, from a delivery perspective, but, it also empowers them to bring some of the brightest minds together with some of the most innovative businesses, and to support both of them along the journey of success.
14 minutes after 11 o'clock. Give us a call on 011-883-0702 if you want to share your experience around flexible work. Are you still working from home? How flexible is your work? And how has it benefited you? Has it worked for you? Has it not? Maybe you are an employer. You're a manager from a business. What have you picked up as the benefits or even the disadvantages of flexible work? Does it work for the business or not? Share your experiences with us. We'll take your calls and WhatsApps after the break. It's 15 after
702. World of Work.
17 minutes after 11 o'clock. We've been talking about the benefits of flexible work for employees, for the business as well. And I want you to share some of your experiences, some of your concerns as well. We're speaking to Daniela Thom, who is a key accounts and business development manager at Strider Digital. I got a message, Danielle, from someone who's speaking about the support structures that are needed to make this model of flexible work sustainable. What would you advise companies out there that are thinking, I want to try this and I want to make it sustainable? What do they need? Do they need training, like around management style, communication? What's so important in order for it to be sustainable?
So, Clement, I think, with more project-based work, right? So a flexible working model, people might not stay in an organization for years in the same way they used to. Culture or the support that we give to permanent employees and consultants, I think needs to be the same. So we're not only wanting to support someone out of longevity. It shouldn't matter how fluid your workforce is. I think, how you achieve success with this flexible work model is about shared values across the business, permanent and contractors alike. It's about clear ways of working, setting strong communication channels up. And it's about how people feel while they're a part of the team. So, whether someone is with the business for 3 months or even 3 years, if you can make people feel genuinely connected and valued, I think, you will be able to achieve the level of success that you have set out, regardless of, what type of workforce you have within your project or with whatever goal you're trying to achieve.
And there are many leaders who worry about losing teamwork, when they embrace flexible work, or they're losing culture if everyone works flexibly. How can businesses keep people connected while maintaining this kind of setup?
Look, I think there is often the hybrid model that comes to mind. So there is some level of encouragement in terms of asking your staff to come into the office a few days a week. There are obviously the social events that some of our clients, for example, host to encourage collaboration. But I think it also comes down to things like your contracting houses, for example, Strider. We support our clients through high performance coaching of the consultants. We have our own people manager. We are very high touch in relation to our engagement with the consultants and the clients. So it's a shared relationship and a shared responsibility between the consulting house or the consultant, the client, and the individual themselves to achieve a level of success that our clients or organizations or any business out there is trying to achieve.
And for younger workers, does it help when a company embraces flexible work? Because younger workers often want more freedom. They want, purpose in their jobs. So how does this flexibility setup help attract and keep talent from that generation?
Yeah, I think that's a very insightful question, because that is definitely something that we see within the tech industry specifically. We do have a shortage of skills in that industry, from engineering to business analysis. We have AI and AI literacy being a top demand, top skill that's currently in demand. And I think the benefits of project-based or flexible work, specifically within our younger generations, they can develop their very highly sought-after skills in very different environments. And those environments, they offer very different experiences. So, some might criticize that it's we see big business maybe stripping away things like income security, but it's actually more about where each side sees an opportunity to evolve and grow.
One employer asked us if you've got advice for some of the employers out there or managers who may struggle to let go of control, because trust, I would imagine, seems central to this way of working.
Yeah, look, absolutely. It's give and take, right? So trust comes with being able to show that you can be held accountable, and accountability then, generates more trust. So it is a two-way street. It's not specifically only on the organization. But, again, Clement, I really stress that if businesses don't consider being more flexible when it comes to a flexible working policy, they are at risk of losing their top tier talent to very likely their competitors that will. We have a shortage of skills within the industry. Everyone is looking very likely for the same kind of individual to innovate, to grow, to develop their strategies out into the market. And people are going to go with the best offer that's available. And that's not necessarily, financial benefits. It's the hybrid work model. It's the opportunity. It's the ability to grow their experience, their skill sets. We are talking about very highly skilled, in-demand talent. So they want to contribute meaningfully. They want to. It's less about the hours and more about what comes out of the time that they invest with the organization.
And how do you see flexible work shaping the country's workplace over the next, 5 to 10 years?
Oh, that's a good question. I think it's going to stay in different shapes and forms, depending on the needs and requirements of big and small business alike. I certainly don't think it's going to be done away with. And I think, there will always be individuals or people within the workforce who do want the security of, permanent employment and in-office engagement. But you are going to have a generation of our workforce, no matter how old they are, wanting the difference, wanting the change, wanting the ability to build and grow out their skills and experience. So it's here to stay. It just depends on what flavor you prefer in terms of what you ultimately decide to take in terms of a career path.
And what role does technology play though in making this flexible work possible?
Oh, huge, absolutely huge. I think we all discovered how dependent we became on software as a service platforms during COVID. We've seen the rise of WhatsApp and its usage in terms of being able to contact its customers. So that's not going to change, and especially given now the rise of AI and, what that has to bring in the next, decade. So it's here to stay, and I think it's going to be to our benefits if we optimize the utilization of technology as we grow.
Yeah. Daniela Thom, thank you so much for chatting to us. Key Accounts and Business Development Manager at Strider Digital. It's 26 after 11.